Okay, Madam City Clerk, I'm going to call this meeting to order. And before I hear from any speakers, I want to call on the City Attorney. Please go ahead, Madam City Attorney.
Mayor Pro Tem, and council members, this is a special meeting called under the provisions of the Brown Act, which allows the chair of a legislative body such as the City Council to call a special meeting upon giving 24 hours written notice. This is scheduled as a performance evaluation and or disciplinary action with regard to the city manager. I'd like to inform the council that yesterday we did provide the city manager with his legal notice, which would allow for him to ask that this meeting occur in public. He has the right to have this meeting occur in public, and he has not made that request.
Thank you for that. At this point, I want to call some speakers that we have. Roberta Olivero, followed by Albert Castillo.
That's Robert Oliver, Mr. Mayor.
Got it. Thank you.
Good afternoon, honorable council members and staff. I'm here to address the calling of this meeting, and it's unfortunate that you've done so during the holiday season, but I'm here to address one thing. I don't know what employment action you want or are thinking of taking against the city manager. I assume you need 4 votes to do it. And I see 4 people here, and so my comments are addressed to Councilmember Martinez. And I ask that you recuse yourself from any employment action, any decision regarding an employment action regarding the city manager for what should be an obvious conflict of interest. Now, Madam Council Member, you in the Code of Ethics and Conduct, which you certified and signed, attested and pledged that you'd safeguard the ability to make any independent, objective, fair, and impartial judgments by scrupulously avoiding financial or social relationships and transactions that may compromise or give the appearance of compromising objectivity, independence, and honesty. Now, we all know that last year, less than a year ago, there were allegations of unwanted sexual advances involving the city manager and yourself. And so I'd submit to you, if you are the 4th vote in any employment action, particularly an adverse employment action, you're opening up the city to liability for wrongful retaliatory employment action in violation of the public policy. And if you want to know what that means, Madam City Attorney will tell you what that means, including punitive damages against the city and yourself personally. So I would implore you to avoid that conflict, even that appearance of a conflict, by recusing yourself from any decision regarding any employment action against the city manager. Otherwise, you're opening up the city to liability. Any employment lawyer worth his or her salt will take that case and file an action, and you may be personally liable yourself. More the reason why you should recuse yourself from any decision.
Thank you. Albert, followed by Claudia Arellanes, followed by Madeline Spencer.
I would say good afternoon, but it's not. Intentionally, you guys put this together so the city council, the rest of the city council wouldn't be here, and of course the public, who like myself at work, and others. Bunch of cowards. You guys are nothing but cowards to do this. When you see the city of Anaheim trying to move forward and moving forward, you see the city of Santana going backwards. Michelle, of all people, yourself showing up here shows us already that you're looking into supporting this, the Police Officer Association, removing the city manager and possibly the chief of police. This is going to go on. This is something that we will never forget, and we will use this now in our future. Cowards. That's what you guys are. Cowards.
Claudia, followed by Madeline Spencer, and then Ryan Smaller.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. I am very upset about this. And I'm here to ask you to please do not proceed with your intentions. If you are going to do that, we are going into 2017 with nothing. The city has gotten into a momentum. What you are doing right now is destabilizing, can you please help me do, destabilizing our city. It is like putting the rug under our feet. Even this meeting is underhanded because 3 of our representatives are out of town. And as I just heard, there were no time given to a city manager. This is beyond the person. It is about who gets the job done. And personal matters or issues or preferences should not matter in this voting, especially you two. They are new. Especially you two, and I beg you, please refrain yourself from voting. Thank you.
Thank you, Madeline, followed by Ryan, followed by Sam Romero.
We don't need a breech birth in the year 2017. We want to go into this year with our head forward. The city manager's position focuses on efficiency, providing a certain level of service in the city of Santa Ana. The competence of the city manager can be assessed using composite indicators. And if you're not using those composite indicators, you're already at fault. Moreover, typically, the just causes for firing include incompetence, insubordination, insolence, dishonesty, absenteeism or lateness, sexual harassment, workplace violence, or off-duty conduct. In the city of Santa Ana, if we look at the history, we will find that, Mr. Polito, there is a legacy that has been built over the last 30 years. And it shares a very bleak history along with some of the good things that you've done. In this history, there's a history of unequal investment policies and differential investments that have made public and private resources according to status of area residents that have led to markedly different outcomes in the viability of infrastructure and of social organization dependent on that infrastructure. You have created borders in the city, invisibilized our residents via geographical marginalization. You've created spatial homogeneity and worked to exclude residents from governance processes, which necessitated the fight for transparency and strategic planning. You've drained the spirit of this city by making people feel helpless because they cannot influence larger structures which they're embedded in. You've helped to cause serial displacement, policies that push people out of homes, businesses, destroy community functions, feed inequity, and you've assisted in feeding social disintegration through policies of constant upheaval, breaking social ties, destroying families, and bringing us to a period where there are even children sleeping in trees in certain parts of the city. What we have here is a city and its people who have been direly neglected for years, and it needs to stop. In the last 2 years, things have started to turn around. And if you look at the recent timeline and the lawsuits and everything from misuse of redevelopment funds to myriad settlements that have been brought forward due to the mayor's handling, you'll find a whole litany list of problems.
Thank you, Madeline.
I'm almost done. Some of the questions that you guys should be asking today, especially those of you who are here for the first time and have no history of working with the city manager, is what big projects is the city currently working on? What lawsuits are we currently dealing with? What advances have been made with the current city manager? Is the city in a better or worse position than it was before he was appointed? Is there just cause to fire the city manager? Has the current city manager been shown in violation of any policy, federal, state, or city statutes? And how will this decision impact the city as a whole?
Thank you, Madeline. Ryan, followed by Sam Romero, followed by Benjamin Vasquez.
Good afternoon. My name is Ryan Smolar. I'm a resident and I work with Downtown Inc., which helps manage the downtown business district. I just want to say that I'm very concerned by today's meeting and the way that the press that is around this meeting. I'm kind of a newcomer. I've been here for about 3 years, coming from a slightly bigger city, Long Beach. And just like the city manager, he's from a bigger city. And I think when you come to this city and you come from a bigger city, you're beholden to a lot of structures and systems that aren't in place here, that need to be established here. And what I've seen the city manager doing is bringing some systems to this city that are going to be the bedrock and foundation of developing the golden city that we all want to be a part of. And it's been great to work with him, and I've been really excited by the momentum and the more that we've been able to do with city staff, with city council, and working together. When I first read about Santa Ana and did all my research on the city, what appears to an outsider is that there's a lot of division and fighting here and instability. And that's what comes out in the press. I know that this is a beautiful community, this is a beautiful city, and there's a lot of people working really hard to make this place great. But what comes out is all the fighting and the lack of agreement and the lack of ability to work together. And so that's what I've focused on, is building a large network of people working together to build systems that are going to help as many people as possible. And many of the people I'm working with contacted me very concerned about how this meeting is being conducted and the way that this is being brought forth without the public trust and public knowledge of what's really happening. So I ask that you keep that in mind, and that we're looking to you to be great leaders. We want to be good leaders. We all need to work together and make this city stable, friendly, and working together and having systems to build success for all of us. Let's keep going. Thank you.
Thank you. Sam, followed by Benjamin, followed by Eddie Quillanes.
The city manager, as far as I'm concerned, has done a real good job. I applaud him for what he's done. I'm a little concerned at what's going on. We have some people here that should be up there, now they're gone. I think, Miguel, I've known you for over 35 years or so, and I think this is the most rotten thing you have ever done. You got to reverse yourself. And Michelle, look up. You've done a decent job lately in Logan. The Logan says, don't get involved in this. If you would do us a favor, walk out, okay? Would sure help us. Thank you.
Benjamin, followed by Eddie, followed by Angie Amezcua.
This is a real shameful day in Santa Ana for us that you called this meeting today, and it's out of political debt that the three of you owe to the Santa Ana Police Association. It's a real shameful that it's about you today, and it's not about the people of Santa Ana and what we've gone through with this mayor. And you're going to come in to his aid. And because you owe a debt to the Santa Ana Police Officer Association, you're willing to fire a man to get to where they want to be. What we really need is accountability in the city. We really need to make sure that our police are doing the right job. We have many instances of them misconduct, of them hurting people, and we can't let that loose. We need to hold them accountable. And because you own a political debt, you want to fire a man? Is that where we're going with this? What kind of integrity does it have for you guys? And I implored, like everybody else, Michelle, please do not go this way. Michelle, you've come a long way. You have grown, and we've seen you grow, and we applaud you for the work that you've done lately. But do not go this way. Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie, followed by Angie Amezcua, followed by Cezanne Brown, I believe it is.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. Early on, a close friend of mine advised me when I arrived in Santa Ana, don't get involved in the crossfire. My comments today are not meant to be combative or critical. My purpose is to share a Santa Ana business owner's perspective on what is occurring today. As a Santa Ana Council, I hold you in high regard. I understand that today will be an important vote that will affect this city for the next 2 years, and more importantly, for years to come. Upon arriving in Santa Ana in 2010, I never heard any rumbles that it is difficult to work with the city. However, after working in the city for my first 2 years and working with hundreds of small businesses in Santa Ana, they all shared one resounding complaint. It is difficult to work with this city. Business licenses are difficult to attain. Plan department is in disarray. Currently, we only have a handful of officers patrolling the largest populated city in Orange County at one time. As a remedy, all of these issues, Council decided to hire David Cavazos as our new city manager. At first, I must say that I was skeptical of David Cavazos due to his high salary. We have a city that is $1 million in the red, on the verge of bankruptcy, and ready to hand out pink slips to hundreds, if not thousands, of city employees, and losing their fire department to accounting. How is the city ready to compensate an individual with over $300,000? In just a few months, David Cavazos, those doubts disappeared, and this city is and was and is heading financially in a positive direction. During my experience with our city manager, I have seen the following: his accessibility to Santa Ana. He never fired anyone due to budget constraints. Increased business license activity year-end, or every year, achieved a AA credit rating from S&P. Funded millions of dollars to new programs and services such as strategic planning, which is imperative. Achieved a surplus every year. Travels across this great country to advocate for Santa Ana to attain millions of dollars in grants for safety. Personally, David Cavazos and his team have done an exceptional job in Santa Ana. Their continued efforts have ended any doubt in my mind that Santa Ana will regress to what it was before he entered the role as city manager. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Angie, followed by Susan Brown, followed by Raul Yanes.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I'm here today because I feel it's very wrong to have this meeting at this time when we're making this tremendous decision. People are out of town, people are on vacation. There are 3 council members that could not attend the meeting, and I just think it's wrong. And we all know that David, since he's been on board with the city, has done a tremendous job for our city, and we can't make this decision today. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne, followed by Raul, followed by Ivan Enriquez.
Good afternoon, Mayor and council members. I apologize. I just learned about the meeting about an hour ago, so I didn't have time to prepare any remarks, but I wanted to come, and it sounds like I may be your sole voice of support today, but I wanted to encourage you to go ahead with what you're proposing to do. I'm a long-term city resident. I and many of my neighbors have been expressing concerns about many things we have seen going downhill in the city since the current city manager has been on board, and we're concerned about his exorbitant salary as compared to city managers throughout the rest of the state, and seeing what we've been getting in return for that salary. So I encourage you to proceed with what you're planning to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Raul, followed by Ivan Enriquez, followed by Airo Cortez.
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of the council. In the last 37 years that I have been in Santa Ana, I have not witnessed as much growth and progress as I have seen for the last 3 years. I believe that progress is the result of Mr. Cavazos' work and vision for Santa Ana. Progress takes time. There is much more that needs to be done. Mr. Cavazos was hired to deliver improvements to Santa Ana, and he's doing that. Santa Ana is no longer in deficit. In fact, it has a surplus. He was hired because his experience and qualifications as Santa Ana Business Council property owner, confident that progress can continue if Mr. Cavazos continues working until his contract expires. As such, I'm asking that council allows Mr. Cavazos to work until his contract expires. At that time, the council can evaluate and determine if the contract will be renewed. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Airo Cortez, are you going to require Spanish translation? No? Okay, sorry. Ivan Enriquez, Airo Cortez, and then Hugo Munoz, I believe it is. And after that, Ana Urusua.
Thank you, City Council. My name is Ivan Enriquez, and I'm a Ward 3 resident. The reason why I have come to speak in public today is because I feel that there's a need to speak on a positive side of David Cavazos. When I was chair of the Youth Commission, and one time in the month of July, where unfortunately we had one vehicular pedestrian-related fatality a week, usually of a young person, David understood really the impact that that has on our city. And as chair, I was proud that he understood that concern because there were others that were approaching him as well about these concerns and other concerns as well. But he took the time to make that a priority, at least comment with me one-on-one about that. And that meant a lot to me. The last time that I saw David in public was when I was with my friend Gordon, who's from Downey. And I had just gotten to El Catrin, just gone to Café Calacas. He just happened to be there across the street. I call him across the street, and he's there, he's friendly, meets my friend, courteous as usual. And that's what we should expect from our city officials, especially when dealing in the city of Santa Ana. That should be an expectation. Unfortunately, I feel like that expectation is not being met by members of the city council, and I don't appreciate that. I don't appreciate the action that was being done by calling this meeting to order without accommodating the other city council members, and I feel that that needs to be said, and I feel that other members of public that are speaking on that behalf, I support them. I do not support any disciplinary action against David Cavazos.
Thank you, Airo, followed by Hugo Munoz, followed by Ana Ursua.
Good afternoon, members of the council and Mr. Mayor. I'm here with the Orange County Immigrant Youth United. Over the last year, we've had the opportunity to work with Mr. Cavazos very frequently as a result of the jail reuse study. Over this time, we've grown to really appreciate our collaboration and our work with Mr. Cavazos. Over the course of our work, we found him to be very fair and very understanding, right, of the issues that are before the city. And so, I think, like many other people, I believe that Mr. Cavazos' work should be evaluated not based on political debts or based out of personal, tensions and personal disagreements. And so we're here in full support of not going forward with the proposed action in support of City Manager David Cavazos. Thank you.
Thank you. Hugo, followed by Ana.
Good afternoon, City Council members. My name is Hugo, and I'm a longtime resident of Santana, born and raised. So I'm here on my lunch break. That makes me hangry. If you know what hangry means, it's hungry and angry. I'm hungry for justice, and I'm angry because this meeting was called when there are 3 folks missing today. But in general, I've got quite a bit of an appetite, and I am hungry. And I really would like for this meeting to end sooner rather than later, because we know that this is completely out of line. As someone that is also a man of faith, I've been taught to look out for the common good. We do know that the SAPOA paid off, or better yet, spent quite a bit of money on independent expenditures, and this strikes me as political debt that you're repaying, and I'm not okay with that. In fact, I'm very concerned for the city and the direction that it's moving in. I don't know Cavazos personally. I've never spoken to him, but I do know that I have worked for 2 of you up here, Michelle Martinez and Jose Solorio. I have campaigned for both of you, and I think it's a shame that we're having this conversation, and I really look forward to both of you either abstaining or voting against this today. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Ana?
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Ana Ursua. I also wanted to weigh in and share that I believe that much of the progress that has been made in the city over the last several years has been as a result of transparency, participation of the public, and also larger accountability that involves the public. I'm very concerned that this meeting today was in a spirit not of good faith, that there wasn't enough notification or public knowledge. that it seems like a step backwards and an apparent closing of dialogue with this community. We also hold the city manager to higher standards, but the bigger question is, whose bidding is this on behalf? We know that there was a very large institution weighing in on these elections recently, and that these are power plays that are taking over our city, and we hold you to higher standards than that as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and recess to closed session. Madam City Attorney, do we have anything to report out?
Mayor, council members, and members of the public, we do have reportable action. The City Council has voted 4-0 to place the city manager on paid administrative leave immediately as the council continues to review and investigate current and former issues arising from his personal performance evaluations, including but not limited to the impacts of personal workplace relationships and the development of a romantic relationship policy. That's all the reportable action that I have.
All right, with that, this meeting is adjourned.